So number 4. Number 4 is the most important. What is number 4, mystical mystery? Is to transcend the subconscious mind and going into Theta wave. This is where most people are unable to do on their own. They try all kinds of things, but it's not working. It's because their mind doesn't go into Theta wave. So let's talk about what is it. Okay, according to neuroscience, they've done a lot of study on that, and it's so fascinating. The brain is such a powerful tool when you know how to work with it and what it is. As I have said a little bit in earlier, we have 5 stages of brain wave. The brain is an organ, and it emanates electromagnetic energy, electrical impulse. We have neuron, and there's some synapses, and it works with energy. So each time we emanate a thought, there is a brain wave. So brain wave are measured in terms of hertz, H, Z, it's the abbreviation. It means a circle per second. And they work with amplitude and frequency. And we won't go into all the details because what we really want to focus in this program is the juicy greedy of what is alpha brain wave and theta wave. Because when we co-creating with our creator, with the divine, this is where we want to bring our state into a state of consciousness that is very deep, that where we transcend the subconscious mind. So according to neuroscience, the first brain wave is beta. We already touched a little bit about that. Beta is the awakened state, the alertness state, the reasoning state, when you're analytical, when you're critical, the jabbering mind. This is a state where you can't sit and meditate because your brain waves are too activated. This is where Devi Ma said that's the big challenge for people because they get stuck into the mental body. It's useful, the beta wave, for certain things, like if you're in a debate or you're giving a speech, you know, it serves a purpose. But when you're yogi and you want to transcend, and when we talk about self-realization, enlightenment, beta wave does not exist anymore in your brain. You move into deeper realm of consciousness, and this is where we are interested in. The second one, there is one they discovered not so long ago, is called gamma brain wave. That's a fascinating one because the gamma wave is also a fast brain wave. I forgot to mention the beta wave, by the way. You might be fascinated to hear that. I don't know if some of you know that, but the hertz, how agitated the mind is, it is from 30 to 100 circle per second. Can you imagine the activity that goes on into the brain? It's huge compared to going into delta, which is the last stage, which is like between 1 to 3 per second. You see the vast difference? So the gamma, it's a great state for high concentration. People who have a lot of gamma brain wave have a high IQ. And it's great to be in deep concentration when you focus on something. It's very useful, but it's not a state where most people would use a lot. Some people their brain don't even go there, depending the kind of individual you are, depending on your karmic structure. That one, they're still studying, the scientists, they're still looking into it. It's fascinating. One thing I omitted to mention also, the beta wave is the state of the jabbering mind, meaning it's definitely not useful for us yogi. Normally, when you're very advanced meditator, you're not. It's actually even when you have become completely one and you self-realize beta wave does not even exist. You're in a much deeper state of consciousness. But people who have overly beta wave, that's what we call stress. That's what we call anxiety. That's what we call all of those things. People who go into anxiety attack, or they can't sit and meditate. Their mind is agitated, they drive them crazy, or they overly stress. Have you seen people like that? They're very nervous, and that means they are overly emanating beta wave into their brain. And so we talk about the gamma. It's used occasionally. And then we're moving in the realm of deeper consciousness. This is where it gets super fascinating. The alpha wave. Beloved, I have mentioned that before. I don't know if you caught that, but when you bring yourself to this present moment by the power of your conscious breath, and then you bring your awareness to your breath, and you really stop yourself during the day and you do that. How many of you do that every day? Like at least 2-3 times every hour. Have you noticed it calms down your mind? It's because you're inducing your brain into an alpha wave. Devi Ma called the alpha wave the Zen brain wave, because it induces you into a Zen in the power of now. It brings you back into this existential moment, because the electromagnetic energy from the alpha brain wave is much lower. The amplitude is much higher, but the frequency is much lower. And I think in the alpha is from, if I recall, I think it's from 8 to 15 hertz per second. You see the difference from the beta, which is the top in the 100? So you're going deeper into a state of deeper consciousness. And often when you're in alpha state, for most people who don't practice mindful practices, they will normally can induce that state if their eyes are closed. But I'm here to tell you, you can live on a daily basis into an alpha state where you're really calm and not a lot of activity goes on. That doesn't mean you're dull, not at all. This is a state of deeper consciousness where you can start to easily reprogram your brain. You follow? Because when your brain wave is calmer, you become more of a witness of your thoughts, of your action. And you're aware with your breath on a moment-to-moment basis. Because another thing people don't realize, beloveds, that when you really are in that state of brainwave alpha and you follow your breath, and you reach a point where you don't even have to close your eyes. It's a natural thing. You are in attunement and alignment with your breath. And it's a pranayama. Have you realized that? The conscious breath is a pranayama, because in that process of being conscious of your breath, not only your brain wave is in an alta, a deeper state of mind, but you're also processing karma. You've been in touch with your emotion. You've been in touch with your feelings. Have you noticed that? And so it's not being repressed into the subconscious mind. It's not repressed into the physical body or in the subtle body into karmic impression. You're following, right, so far? And feel free to write, comment, ask questions. In the program, you can easily reach out and ask some question, and you can even email us and Devi Ma. We will answer back. So alpha state is the Zen brain wave. It's calm. It's the beginning of really co-creating the divine. If any of you wonder what is that noise, we have a beautiful fire going on here, and it's sparkling. Says yes for alpha wave. We love alpha wave. We love alpha wave, and we yogi, we live in theta wave most of the time, or alpha wave. We vary between the two, and you come to a stage where you completely in theta wave. There is very little activity going on in the brain. So the Zen alpha wave is magnificent because it's the beginning of reprogramming you being. And now with the affirmation, suddenly, ooh, those affirmation comes up. Out of a sudden, have you noticed that they start coming up? And it uplifts you because you already have started to reprogram your deep in your consciousness. So here we are going to our favorite one is Theta wave. Theta wave, it's a deeper state of consciousness. It's a twilight zone. This is where you go into deep state when we do the guided meditation with the transmission. And I forgot to mention, in the alpha state also, when you do your Siddha Satchit Kriyananda meditation, or Nada Yoga, or Mantra Yoga, all of that brings you into an alpha state. All those yogic practices, even the Siddha Satchit Kriyananda, and even so, it can even bring you into a theta wave, depending on your karmic structure, depending on your disposition for that day. You will notice throughout your practice, there's very little thought coming in. It comes easily, effortless, and it just brings your mind in such a quiet, peaceful state. So theta wave, it's even a higher amplitude. It's a slower frequency. And I believe this one, hertz is like 4 to 8. Can you imagine the difference from beta, 30 to 100, to theta wave into 4 to 8? Can you imagine how come? So now you are completely into a different state. You have transcended your subconscious mind. This is the key point to remember. If you're really going to manifest and co-create with the divine, you need to be induced into a theta wave brain wave. Otherwise, you cannot reprogram. You follow? The subconscious mind is not going to allow you, because deep down, your subconscious mind has a program. If that is not reprogrammed, and if your samskar, your karmic impression are still really strong from a dysfunctional family or even past life, that there's a strong karmic structure that is blocking your way to manifest what you want. Now in theta wave, the more often you are induced in theta wave, and then you reprogram, you transcend the subconscious mind with the right visualization, the right samskar, because it's all about bringing new samskar. So that's why in the alchemy of divine manifestation for blessing, the guided meditation are extremely important because they're designed to work on very specific area of your life. And all it takes on your part is to be willing and just relax. Like I've seen you go into some state where it can even bring you into a delta state. If your gate is wide open, so open and so willing, and you can completely let go and surrender to the divine, and it's complete rejuvenation of not only your body temple, but you go into a complete state of samadhi. Because what happened when you go into a theta wave, even in delta, and we're getting to delta now, you go into samadhi. Either you fall asleep, deep sleep without dream, which is delta. Delta is the deepest state. When you go into delta, is tapping into what we call the collective consciousness, the unconscious mind. And I believe it happened to you several weeks ago, beloved, because I've seen how you were out. Those guided meditation can bring you into that state, in a complete state of samadhi. Samadhi, for some of you who are not familiar, Devi Ma talk about this in several programs, in Radiating the Light, and also on the Sri Devi Mayi Ma YouTube channel, there's video, I talk about that. Samadhi is just a state. There are several states of samadhi. One of them that is one of the most profound for all yogis, when you go into realization of your true divine being, of enlightenment. It's called Nirvakalpa Samadhi. Nirvakalpa Samadhi is a state of complete equanimity, where there's a sense of oneness, of deep connection with everything. There is no boundary anymore. It's an out-of-body experience, and you're not conscious of who you are anymore. Follow what I'm saying? This is a state where the brain has gone into delta. Delta is, I've said, is the highest amplitude, I believe, and the lowest frequency. From 3 to 5 circle per second. Can you imagine? It's very little activity in the brain. Almost zero. But you cannot go into zero, because if you go in zero, it means your brain dead. We don't want that. It's not going to happen here, you know. But you can go in samadhi, though. And even though, please, I'm going to make this very clear for you, beloved, who are in the program and here in the program together, is don't underestimate the power of those guided meditation and the affirmation, because they will bring you, the more you do them, you will notice some days you might go into a deeper state, some days you might not. It depends on so many things during the day: what happened, what you ate, the time you do it, the kind of attitude you are, how willing you are, how can you surrender. But the more you do it, the easily you will be able. And even if you fall asleep, or you doze off, or you go in a state where you say, oh my God, I don't remember anything, like it happened to, I was completely out, but you know you were not asleep, well, that means you went into a delta state. Even though you think you didn't do the guided meditation and you didn't follow, but you did. Just know that, because your spirit, your soul, your entire divine being is lessening. Your subconscious mind is being reprogrammed, is lessening. And only then, when you are in theta wave and delta, can you really have a real transformation. And this is where you remove the limitation. Are you following, right? And so the guided meditation, I recommend you do at least once every day. And you could do it before you go to sleep, or you could do it after your sadhana, would be a good time. You know, if some of you are in sadhana, if you're not, it would be a great time for you to start doing the sadhana. Choose a moment where you say, oh, and you will find your being will say, oh my God, I can't wait to lay down and do this meditation. And choose them. If you can, it would be recommended to do 2 per day for 40 days. Remember the mandala. In the yogic tradition, we have said that before. A mandala is 40 days of practice that it's set into your system. So you could do 2 a day, choose the one you want, but do them all. But some of them you might do more often than you want. And your brain wave might altern from alpha to delta, alpha to theta in some guided meditation, and for some other, you might go straight into theta to delta. It would vary from one to one. Don't worry about anything, just enjoy it. And if you fall asleep or you go unconscious, like you have, you were completely out for, I don't know, for over an hour, it's a wonderful state. Just let it happen. Whatever happened, and don't come of it and say, oh my God, I didn't do the guided meditation. It's actually the opposite. This is the best way to do the guided meditation because it's effortless. You don't have to work so hard. This is where the magic happens. Okay? So now you understand, right? Let's recap very briefly. Brain wave from beta, and there is gamma, but gamma is a little bit outside because they're still studying the gamma wave. But the 4 major one, we would say, but from beta, this is also, that's what happens also when you fall asleep at night, the brain goes from beta, generally speaking, for most people who are not in sadhana. But people who are in sadhana is a little different, especially someone who's self-realized, they don't go through those stages. But normally it's from beta to alpha, theta, and then, delta, you're normally in deep sleep. Okay? So let's see. And one last thing on theta brainwave. This is the key point to remember. This is the twilight zone of where you cross over into the subconscious mind. Everything happens in the subconscious mind because this is where you can really reprogram deep. And that is the reason why for most people don't succeed with the law of attraction and the law of assumption is their karmic impression interfere, their subconscious mind interfere. You could say whatever you say, but if you don't practice mindfulness and you're not induced into a deep state of theta wave, the subconscious mind will never be reprogrammed. And it takes time. And the more you do it, and do the mandala to really be successful. And remember, single focus, unwavering for a length of time. And now, the last one, number 5, is the magic of imagination. Without imagination, nothing would happen. In the tantric yogic branch, most people don't know about Tantra. Here in America, they think it's related to sex, but it's so far away from being the truth. But in Tantra, and I can tell you, I know quite a lot about Tantra. We won't go into that, but just to say briefly, most people don't know that, is the biggest tool in Tantra is the power of the imagination. Because what I did mention earlier, when you're in theta wave, or even in alpha, but especially in theta and delta, The subconscious mind cannot differentiate between what is true and what's not true. Did you hear that? The subconscious mind cannot determine what is true and so what is not true. So when you are using the power of your imagination with the visualization in the guided meditation, and you have transcended your subconscious mind, it won't know. It doesn't know that what you are manifesting is co-creating with the light of the divine. And that's what it is, the number 5, is that you're working with the life force energy. We could call it the light. You see what I'm saying? By the power of your imagination. In Tantra, we create deity with energy. And they're alive, they're real, they're powerful. But we know it's not God, it's not our creator. But that's the power of Tantra, the power of the imagination. And this is a gift that our creator gave us. This is where the magical one becomes very important. And when you lay down and you do those guided meditation, when you go into Theta wave, it's easy to use the power of your imagination. The visualization becomes so vivid. Have you noticed that? They become vivid. It's like everything is manifesting when you work with that energy, because you're working with the energy. Remember, fundamental basis, everything is energy. So when you go down and you do those guided meditation, you actually working with our divine creator. You're working with the light. You're working with your own inner divine power. You're working with the energy of the life force energy. And then the reverberation of the spoken word. So those highly vibrational affirmation, do it at least once a day. They're short, they're 10 minutes. And you will notice, like in 2-3 weeks from now, out of a sudden, pop, one will pop up. You will be saying it out loud. I can tell you that. You will say, oh my God, where is this coming from? You feel uplifted. It's telling you that you already have done a lot of reprogramming into your subconscious mind. You'll see a shift in your energy. You will start aligning. Remember number 1 we talked about? What was that? The 4 dimension, allowing your 4 dimension about yourself, body, mind, emotion, and energy. When those are aligned to all the things we have discussed, then this is when you become a true divine alchemist and you starting manifesting. And everything comes in divine timing. So you need to be patient and perseverance. And there's another video gift here in this program. Please watch it. And we don't even have to discuss in this session, because co-creating is actually very easy and simple when you know the right element. And we have covered everything so far. And the gifts, they're there. Enjoy them, watch them as much as you want. And that gift is about 5 elements that are essential for co-creating. And we don't even have to cover it into this one since it's in the gift. So enjoy them, watch them, and apply all of that. And do your mandala. And even though if you're very serious and willing and you want to co-create, I encourage you, do it as long as you want. And test it for yourself, because that's all the beauty about the yogic tradition is. What I'm bringing here is from the Ascended Master. This has been transmitted for thousands of years. And most people don't know, they're not aware of it. Because the yogic tradition was kept as an esoteric tradition for so many centuries. Did you know that? It was transmitted orally. The secret of the universe, everything you want to know, was transmitted orally from the Maharishi, the Ascended Master. And what I am imparting to you is from my own experience as a co-creator, as a divine alchemist. So it's been tested for thousands of years by the Maharishi, the great sages, and the Ascended Master, and my own life as a yogini. I can tell you that it works. You will be successful. Just apply yourself, have faith and trust, and feel your heart overflowing with gratitude. And it's a science, so put it to the test. Okay, are you willing? So let's co-create in a beautiful way. Feel free to reach out if you have any question, right down into the section of this program. And please attend to our Divine Satsang, in present Satsang. We are inviting you. And if you haven't done the Becoming the Light Inner Mastery Program, you will love it. It will empower you to a new level, and especially the Radiating the Light, because this is where you can work on your pranic Maya Kosha, the energy body, with the Siddha Satchit Kriyananda. So it takes more than one thing. It's, you see, it's many tools. And then you will know over the weeks how it's affecting your energy. You can deny it, you will feel it. Because the yogic tradition is a science, and that's the beauty about it. A science is that you can test it for yourself. So my divine alchemist, you willing to test it for yourself? And you'll see how it's affecting your whole energy. You will start feeling a shift within yourself. So, and please, if you see anything, things happening to you, great result, send your messages, send your testimonials so we can share with the world and help others. But remember one thing, and we're going to leave you on that note. Co-create for the universe too, for all living beings, not just for yourself. And that will give you a new power, because when we manifest also for everyone. So we have a beautiful planet and we can radiate the light together. So Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all living beings be happy and well and live in peace and harmony.